Sometimes, love doesn't end with goodbye. It waits quietly, through years and changes, through silence and distance, until one day, fate opens the door again. The city of dreams glows under the soft orange sky of a fading sunset. Streets hum with the sound of expensive cars and laughter drifting from rooftop bars. Storefronts sparkle with new fashions, but somewhere in that glittering reflection, an old memory lingers. The same streets once carried to souls who dared to love against all odds, Edward Lewis and Vivian Ward. Now, time has changed everything around them, yet the air still carries a trace of their story. The same boulevard, the same light wind, the same music faintly playing from a passing car, pretty woman echoing like a ghost from the past. The camera moves slowly through Beverly Hills, capturing the details that hold quiet nostalgia, a limousine passing by, a red dress hanging behind a glass window, the faint reflection of a man in a tailored suit adjusting his tie. He's older now, wiser, calmer, yet behind his eyes, there's the same quiet longing that once defined him. Somewhere else in the same city, a woman stands before her mirror. Her hair falls softly over her shoulders. Her smile carries both warmth and distance. She reaches out, touching the edge of a red dress, the color that once made her unforgettable. She hesitates, then lets her hand fall. Some memories never fade, but not all are easy to wear again. The rhythm of the city slows, as if it remembers them too. The streets where laughter once echoed now whisper stories of what was left behind. Time has painted every wall with new colors, yet love has a way of surviving beneath layers of change. The camera glides over the skyline, golden lights spilling across tall buildings, while the faint sound of a violin begins to rise. It's gentle, almost hesitant, as if afraid to disturb the quiet. The scene carries a pulse, a heartbeat that's not quite ready to be forgotten. In the distance, the camera focuses on a hotel balcony, empty now, but still beautiful. The wind stirs a curtain, and for a moment, the city feels alive with the ghosts of laughter and the shimmer of something lost but not gone. The skyline fades into darkness, replaced by the warm flicker of city lights. The story is waiting to begin again. Morning light spills across the city, brushing gold across glass towers and quiet hotel corridors. The world moves forward, but some hearts walk a little slower, carrying memories they never meant to keep. Edward Lewis wakes before dawn, as he always has. His days are structured, his choices precise, yet his mornings are haunted by the sound of laughter that isn't there anymore. He moves through his penthouse apartment with quiet grace, dressed in silver gray, the color of habit and distance. The reflection in the mirror looks back at him, older, sharper, but lonelier. He straightens his tie, not because he needs to, but because he doesn't know what else to fix. Outside his window, the city stretches awake, full of new beginnings. But in Edward's world, time feels suspended, trapped between what was and what could have been. On his desk lies a letter, unopened, with handwriting he knows too well. The paper has aged softly, the ink slightly faded, but the memory of her, her smile, her voice, her laughter, remains as sharp as the day he lost her. He places a hand on it for a second, then turns away. Some doors, he tells himself, are better left closed, but his eyes linger, just for a moment. Across town, the rhythm of another life unfolds. Vivian Ward moves through the modest comfort of her home, sunlight dancing through lace curtains. She isn't the same girl who once dreamed of fairy tales and freedom. She has built a life from pieces of her past, stronger, quieter, and braver. But beneath her calm smile, there's a small ache that visits her when she's alone. It's not sadness, it's remembrance. The kind that doesn't hurt, but never truly leaves. On her dresser sits an old photo, her and Edward, laughing under the city lights. She touches it gently, then sets it face down. Some love stories, she tells herself, belong to the stars, beautiful because they can't return to Earth. As the day unfolds, both move through their worlds unaware that fate has already begun to turn the wheel again. Edward walks into a boardroom full of younger faces, men chasing numbers, not meaning. His words are sharp, confident, yet his eyes carry a distant weariness. Money used to be the language he understood best, but now it sounds hollow, like an echo in an empty room. Somewhere in the middle of a conversation, he pauses, not because he's lost his thought, but because, for a moment, he hears her voice in his mind, light and teasing. You can't buy what you really need. He almost smiles. Almost. Meanwhile, Vivian strolls through Beverly Hills for the first time in years. The streets are familiar but different, younger faces, faster cars, brighter signs. Yet every corner holds a whisper of who she was. She stops outside a boutique window and sees a red dress on display. Not the same one. but close enough to make her breath catch. Behind the glass, her reflection stands beside it, older, wiser, but still with that same spark in her eyes. For a moment, she laughs softly, shaking her head, as if sharing a private joke with the past. Then she walks away, unaware that somewhere, not far from there, Edward's car passes the same street. The music swells faintly, strings rising like a heartbeat rediscovering its rhythm. The camera shifts between their faces, both looking out of their windows, both lost in thought, both unaware that destiny is drawing them closer once more. The city hums beneath them, alive with coincidences, timing, and unfinished stories. A slow rain begins to fall, washing over Beverly Hills, blurring lights into a dreamy haze. Two umbrellas open in two different places, one black, one red, moving through the same rain, beneath the same sky. And as the rain falls, the feeling returns, that fragile, impossible thing called hope. Neither knows it yet, but their paths are about to cross again, not by chance, not by design, but because love, real love, always finds a way back home. Even the strongest hearts can falter when the past whispers their name. Edward Lewis didn't plan to see her again. His days had become a careful performance, success, solitude, and silence dressed in perfect order. Yet life, with all its irony, never asks for permission before rewriting the script. It happens one quiet afternoon when he steps out of a board meeting, lost in thought. And the elevator doors open to reveal a familiar laugh echoing from the lobby below. It's faint, like a memory that shouldn't exist anymore, but for Edward, it's enough to stop time. The sound wraps around him, warm and unexpected, pulling him back to a place he thought he'd left forever. He doesn't see her face yet, just the shape of a woman walking through the glass doors, her red umbrella closing against the rain, and in that instant, the years between them collapse into silence. Outside, the city glistens under a curtain of rain. Vivian walks briskly, her heels tapping softly against the wet pavement. She's come to meet an old friend, not realizing the universe has other plans. The rain feels familiar, the kind that falls when something important is about to happen. She passes a street musician playing a slow romantic tune, the melody curling through the air like a forgotten promise. She stops for a second, closes her eyes, and lets it sink in. The world feels heavier and lighter at the same time. Somewhere behind her, Edward steps out from the building, his eyes searching the crowd, and though they're only a few feet apart, they move in opposite directions to hearts orbiting the same memory but too afraid to collide. As night falls, the city takes on a softer glow. Edward returns home, but his thoughts refuse to rest. He walks through his apartment, every sound amplified, every shadow stretched. He stops by the window, looking out at the same city where he first found her. Down below, headlights blur into streaks of gold, and he wonders if she ever looks up and remembers. On his desk, the unopened letter still waits. He sits, finally tears it open, his hands trembling. Inside, a few simple words written long ago. If we ever meet again, I hope it's because we've both learned how to stay. His eyes close, and for the first time in years, he lets the silence break. Meanwhile, Vivian sits by her window, sipping tea, the city's hum seeping through the glass. She scrolls through her phone and pauses on a news headline, a photo of Edward at a charity event. Older but still carrying that same quiet presence. She smiles, but her eyes soften with something deeper. She whispers to herself, "You look the same." Then, almost without thinking, she types his name into a search bar. The screen glows, his face appearing once more polished, powerful, and distant. She sets the phone down and exhales. "Too late," she murmurs. But the way her heart beats disagrees. The next morning, fate gives them another chance. A charity gala, elegant, extravagant, the kind of event that looks perfect from the outside. Edward attends as a guest of honor. Vivian, invited through her work with a foundation, arrives unaware he'll be there. The hall is filled with glitter and laughter, yet beneath the surface, there's tension, the kind that builds when destiny starts to breathe again. Their paths cross across the room. Her eyes find his from across the crowd, and for a heartbeat, the noise disappears. Time bends. Every memory returns. The laughter, the balcony, the smile that changed everything. Neither moves. The distance between them is only a few steps, but it feels like a lifetime. He takes a small step forward, but someone interrupts a handshake, a conversation, a polite smile. She turns away, pretending not to notice, but her hands tremble slightly as she reaches for a glass of champagne. The orchestra swells in the background, playing a familiar tune, slow, romantic, haunting. She looks back, but he's gone. Just like that, the crowd shifts, the music fades, and the night swallows the moment. Outside, the rain has stopped. The pavement glitters beneath the city lights. Vivian steps out, holding her heels in her hand, the cool air brushing her skin. Somewhere behind her, Edward exits through another door, glancing into the same night, lost in the same thought. The world is wide, yet somehow still too small for two people running from what they need most, and so, the distance remains thin as air, heavy as memory, both walking the same streets, both wondering the same thing. What if love never really ended? What if it just waited for the right time to begin again? The night sky rests quietly over Los Angeles, glowing faintly with city light. The rain has gone, leaving everything washed and shining, streets glimmering like mirrors, air filled with the scent of wet pavement and jasmine. The world seems to pause, as if waiting for something to return. Edward Lewis drives through the sleeping city, his car cutting through the calm streets that once defined his greatest joy. The radio hums softly, an old song, the kind that carries too much memory to ignore. He doesn't know where he's going, only that he can't go home yet. His heart feels restless, unfinished, like a chapter that never got its ending. Every traffic light, every corner, pulls him closer to something he can't name, until finally, he stops. In front of the Regent Beverly Wilshire Hotel, he steps out slowly, the sound of his shoes echoing against the quiet pavement. The hotel stands the same, elegant, timeless, glowing from within. For a moment, he just stands there, breathing in the air, remembering everything that once began here. The laughter, the elevator, the way she looked at him as if he was more than the man he thought he was. Inside, the lobby is nearly empty, but it still carries that old warmth. He walks to the front desk and smiles faintly when the clerk greets him, unaware of the history beneath his calm voice. Just looking around, he says softly. Somewhere else in the same night, Vivian stands at a street corner holding her red umbrella. She's been walking aimlessly, lost in thought, drawn by instinct more than reason. Her steps lead her toward the same hotel, though she doesn't know why. She sees the golden lights reflecting off the windows, the same glow that once changed everything. Her breath catches as she realizes where she is. It's been decades, but it feels like yesterday. She hesitates, as if the ground itself remembers her story. Then, with a small, brave smile, she walks toward the entrance. Inside the hotel, Edward turns toward the lobby's grand staircase, and there she is. Not as he remembered her, but somehow more real, more radiant, more alive. She isn't wearing red tonight. She doesn't need to. Time has softened her edges but sharpened her presence. Their eyes meet, and in that moment, the noise of the world fades. No music, no words, just two souls recognizing home. The air between them carries every unspoken apology, every question, every silent prayer that they never had the courage to ask. Edward's hand trembles slightly at his side. Vivian takes a slow step forward, her eyes glimmering with the weight of years gone by. Neither smiles at first. There's too much feeling for something as simple as that. They just look at each other, letting the silence speak for them. Then, slowly, the corners of her lips lift, and he breathes out, as if he's been holding that breath since the day she left. A quiet piano begins to play, the old theme, soft and aching. The camera circles them as they stand a few steps apart, the lobby lights reflecting around them like stars. She tilts her head slightly, and he almost laughs, the smallest, gentlest sound of disbelief, mixed with gratitude. He reaches into his coat pocket and pulls out something, the same silver necklace, polished and waiting. Time has turned it from a symbol of possession into one of promise. He opens it, and for a moment, the world holds still. But before he can say anything, she takes a step closer and closes his hand around it. You kept it, her eyes seem to say. So did I. They stand there, close enough for the years to finally disappear. No grand declarations, no dramatic speeches, just quiet recognition. Two lives finding their rhythm again. Outside, dawn begins to rise, washing the city in pale gold. The first sunlight touches the windows, spilling warmth across their faces. She looks at him the way she once did, with trust, curiosity, and that spark of magic that time couldn't erase. He looks back, and something inside him settles. The restless heart, the unanswered question. The long journey, all of it finds peace in that one moment. They walk out together into the morning, side by side. The city comes alive around them, cars honking softly, birds singing, life beginning again. For a brief second, they stop at the crosswalk, sunlight glowing behind them. The world looks almost like it did years ago, but this time, it feels different. This time, it feels right. As they step forward, the faint sound of the Pretty Woman guitar riff plays, bright and tender. The screen fades to black.